Welcome to the 3C's of Social Emotional Learning Podcast, Episode 3. I'm Glenn Hunter, Board Chair of Touchstone Youth Resource Services, which is a nonprofit organization in Nashville, Tennessee, focusing on social emotional learning. We bring local communities SEL programming, and what we do is equip local youth so that they have the emotional tools as well to manage harsh and destructive environments. A lot of influences in their world that just aren't being conducive to their growth and their community growth. We give them the tools to manage that, grow themselves, grow their community, and the result is better personal development for the kids who really need to impact where they live and develop. Also, we have our subject matter expert, Shor, Denny, who is CEO and founder of Community Now in the Inland Empire of Southern California.
Hi, you guys. Community Now is a great program, an organization. We do some programming in elementary, middle, and high schools that teach social emotional learning skills to our youth, which improve campus climate, reduce aggression, bullying on the campuses, and improve our youth's lives.
So as you can see, Shor and I both have a heart for really improving the livelihoods of the youth and the communities that we serve. And when you really think about it, these challenges that our youth are enduring aren't just in specific communities. They really spread throughout our national fabric, which is why I think Shor's work is so important as she really goes through and thinks about the programming and puts it into play so that we're changing that kind of, not just dialogue, but the actual outcome of our kids and their behaviors. So with that in mind, you know, Shor, we think about the 3C's of SEL. That's our title, right?
Right.
What are they?
Well, the 3C's are going to be communication, coaching, and community.
So I think if we're looking at our impact, which we've already alluded to, it probably falls under those three legs of the stool.
Yes.
Kind of mixed my metaphor there, but hey, that happens sometimes. So let's camp at communication a little bit. What are some of the communication challenges that kids have as they're trying to process their emotions and they're growing up?
Well, dealing with youth development, you find that in elementary and middle school, you know, they're finding their voice. This is a time where they're going to know who they can communicate with and how they're going to communicate with those different people. With SEL, our goal is to show them that they can communicate, to give them the voice that they can use to describe what they're feeling and to be able to understand how to deal with it. So communication is going to go both ways. It's going to be giving the youth the ability to communicate with friends, parents, teachers, but it's also teaching from the other side, the teachers, the coaches, and the parents being able to communicate back with the child. So communication is going to go both ways, but it's in strengthening our youth to know that they have a voice.
You know, I think that is so important to realize that our youth have a voice, but particularly as adults. They know they have a voice. Sometimes they have a hard time making it clear. But I think the important thing when you tie in SEL is that they're using their voice. They're using their words, as the saying goes, because too often the frustration that comes into our youth ends up being displayed through aggression.
Yes.
When you think about that, what type of tools do you provide, or what are your thoughts about giving them tools so that they're not so quick to use aggression?
You know, I'm going to give you guys a tip that we use within our program that's really effective for monitoring your emotional health. And that's, think of a scale. At the top is 10 and at the bottom is 0. You think of our lives in school, there are some stressors at home, and even using it in your adult life. You know, you have work, you have things, bills. So we're going to say that maybe a 3. If you look at the scale, put a 5 in the middle and come up to 3 and say that 3 is like normal stress. It's normal, you know, life. And then you're going to start looking at how, in the morning when you wake up, think of that scale. Where do you fit on it? If you're at 0, it's unrealistic, right? That's kind of like nirvana. You have no problems whatsoever, no stressors. If you're at the 10, that's like suicide, right? You have gone well beyond your capacity to cope. So every day when you wake up, measure your mental health, and then see where you stand, and then start looking at strategies that you can use to continue to keep yourself coming back down to, say, a 3 or 4, where you're kind of a smooth. When you see a 5, you need to start looking at, okay, I'm at a 5, what put me there, and start putting in some steps, on which we do teach our kids these steps that they can use to bring their emotions back down. And I think that that would be one of the main things that we're teaching our youth, is how to be able to control or maintain their mental health and their emotion.
You know, there's some classic tools out there where, you know, kids count down or something, or they'll focus on something that's calming and soothing.
Yes.
And, you know, they're classic for a reason. But what are some of the other tools or other examples you have to help them get to that 3 to 4 level when things start going a little haywire in their world?
There are safety coping skills. It's safe actions coping skill sheets that we use, and we build those for our youth. So at a youth in our program, we're going to give them this sheet, and we're going to go over this whole topic with them. And one of the things that it's going to say is, if I feel like this, what do I do, right? So a trigger for the child, and then how to overcome that trigger, so that they start learning how to react in advance when something is going to come up at them, and it not be right in the moment. So a scenario that we use is for the youth is, say that you want to stand in the middle of the classroom and scream. The child has lost it. You're going to scream. So what can we tell that child to do before they get to that point, right? So it would be, okay, if Betsy took your pencil, you know, and you're like through, first you're going to do these classics, right? Because classics work. You're going to start counting to 10, right? Let me count to 10, which is going to bring oxygen into the body, which actually makes you think clearer. It gives you time to process things so that you're not just going off. So the first thing would be to breathe, right? Then it would be, okay, so now that you're unhappy and you're there, what else can you do? Well, my next step would be to communicate, right? With the teacher, with the parent, whoever it is that is getting you to the point to where you're going to lose it. And we start showing them that there are stages that they're going to go through, that they feel in their bodies, and what you do when you get to that stage. Let me bring myself back down. You know, if I'm at this stage, and we give them those strategies. We also do this with teachers, with administrators and parents, because we all have stress, and not all of us are able to manage. That's why we're going to therapists. That's why we do these things. Coaching is a great thing, because coaches teach you these skills so that you can, you know, control and have power of yourself. So even for you adults, look at your life, you know, and scale where you are, and then start looking at the ways you can bring it down. Look at seeking safety. Look it up on your computer, and you will see a plethora of 100 coping strategies that you can use in your particular life to build yourself and to bring down the stressors.
Okay. One thing I find really interesting about the not just the work you do, but the community that you work in, is that there's a lot of diversity. Do you find the skills that you've just identified to be to go across cultures, across ethnicities? Do they embrace diversity?
Yes, and that is the beauty of social emotional learning. Just to get a little technical, the programming is kind of based on a humanistic psychological philosophy. And in that philosophy, we state that all humans have the same commonalities. We're all striving for happiness. We all see our world through the experiences that we have had, and that we can see commonalities in how to deal with those stressors. So it's not like you have to take this method for Johnny and this method for Susie. It's the same method, because we're all human in a humanistic view, and we can all improve ourselves using these same skills.
Wow. And I think that's really must be where the power lies, that there is that sense of universality. Yes. And I think that gives us a good segue to the second C, which is coaching, because once you start communicating, there's going to be feedback.
There's going to be feedback. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of information that our youth are going to provide once they know that they're going to be heard and that they're not going to be shut down for voicing their emotions, their opinions, their ideal of life at their age. And when we talk about coaching, we're talking about how we can put techniques and strategies into place so that while they're open and communicating, we can start guiding and coaching them in what is, as we've said in some of our earlier episodes, what is morally correct, within our society, and how they're going to be able to be their own person, have their own power, no matter what may be going on around them. So with coaching, we're using SEL strategies. You're going in, you're going to want to be consistent. You're going to want to show the value of positivity, the value of our voice, the value of our words, so that our youth aren't seeing, as they see on TV, especially today, our politicians, our leader of our country, says one thing, does another, continually says falsehoods. We in our society, they see a lot of people that are continually saying falsehoods, and they have to decide for themselves, are they recognizing that, who are they? And with social emotional learning, we're able to give them the room to develop themselves and to decide and see who they are, rather than being what we expect or what is happening around them.
So with all those pressures around them and you're getting bilateral communication, you're coaching, how do you document the progress that you're making as you see the kids improving with regards to their decision making and the choices that they're demonstrating because of the way you're coaching them?
Well, in our program, we do evaluators, right? We do a pre-post evaluation of our youth's social skills and their life skills. And then during the trimesters, we work with them on different topics. So then we'll do some benchmark quizzes to ensure that they have gained the information that we're trying to give them in that topic. So at the beginning of the year that's coming up, we're going to start with kindness and respect. When we're talking about kindness and respect, we're going to be giving worksheets. They're going to be doing activities, crafts, all these different things that are going to be team building, right? Self-reflection of who am I, which is a mirror activity where we're looking at how people are bullying and talking about us. And when you have that information, but how do you really see yourself? Is it through their lens? Or are you seeing it through yourself? And all of this is done at elementary. So as we're building with all of these activities, the youth are able to just build upon that and be able to communicate and, strive and succeed.
Okay. So their coaching continues to be ongoing and they're building on those blocks. And that gets us to the third C, community. Because once you start getting all these young people building together, they're going to come together with some common ideas. And that's what builds a better community.
Yes.
Elaborate a little bit more on that technically.
Ooh.
When you see it working?
Community is one of the most beautiful parts about our program, because one of the main communities for our youth is their school. They're there many hours a day, and the interactions that go on that campus impact our students' lives immensely. So what we do is we bring culture and positivity to the campus, and in doing that, they are impacting their community. They do school-wide activities where they're going to go out, and one of our activities is called Label the Campus. And what we're doing is school connection, right? And what we're trying to do is show them, have them show the value of their school. So I like my teacher because, and I like this school because, and start putting positive reasons why they're at school out there. Another is labeling each other, right? So we have a school activity where our youth are going to go out and they're going to start labeling the students with, you are a star, you are great, different positive statements, so that everyone on the campus realizes how positive and how perfectly awesome they are, right? So what we're trying to do is get our youth to see the power of positivity and them pushing it out into the community and in their communities. And what we see through our surveys of principals and of parents is that our youth actually take the reins, right? They are becoming leaders. They are thinking before they speak, and they are thinking before they take action. So we are building leaders. We're building youth that are seeing that they have the ability to not only control their emotions, but to be able to be them no matter what is going on around them, so that they can stay focused on their destiny, because it's their choice, right? It's my destiny, I choose. So with the community, we do a lot of volunteer work. We take our youth out into the community. We work with Salvation Army. We work with the VFW doing, we work with feeding kids, feeding the homeless, backpack giveaways. Our youth work with different programming we do with foster care, because when they see their impact in the community, you've got them. Because they didn't know they had value in the community, and when they see others appreciate what they have done, they then want to do more. Our youth are ready. They're us. I keep saying that. They are us. They are just waiting for the instructions and the go sign so that they can begin to do in the community.
You know, it's amazing as you use that language. That's consistent with the experience that I've seen with Touchstone Youth Resource Services. They own the process, and then they're ready to own the results, and you see kids literally flourishing in front of you as they realize they can impact the community. You know, and I don't think we can, you know, really shortchange when you look at the 3C structure, that it does ultimately impact and create better communities. And I have to really point at Shor, because the programming she does, you do see a difference as those young people are starting to stretch their wings. So in closing, Shor, what do you want our audience to take away from the 3 C's?
I want you to take away that our youth are strong and they're ready for the world. They're ready for us to be able to guide them and to problem solve and to think critically, and that we need to give them the room to do that. And I also think that it says that we as a community have a responsibility to help our youth see that, to help them become who they are going to become, not who we think they should be. And that's the key of SEL, is the value and the beauty of the individual. As we see that we can deal with these things on a universal level, we're still that one individual person with our own beautiful value and our own gifts and our own. So, you know, when you show a child, whoa, you have those gifts, and you give them the light, and you see them run with it, you know, and become and do things that you're like, wow, I didn't even know you could do that, right? Oh, wow, you know, and come up with their own ideas and start developing into the program that they want. Then, I mean, it just shows the value of communicating with our youth, coaching them, and then watching what impact they have within our community.
And there you have it, the 3 C's: communication, coaching, community, and it's in action. So, wow, on behalf of Shor, I want to just say thank you for tuning in, staying with us. Again, obviously we're excited about it. Can't wait to see what comes next with regards to the 3 C's of social emotional learning. Again, Glenn W. Hunter, it's me. Subject matter expert Shor Denny. Want to say have a fantastic day to each and every one of you. This podcast is brought to you by Coach G SAT Training. Coach G provides secret tools and tips to high school students to maximize their performance on their SAT and ACT college prep exams. Remember, scores equal scholarships. Call 951-364-3222 to learn how to get started to earn a spot at the college of your choice.